Hey guys, how are you? I am excited about this topic, and I really pray that you guys are equally as excited about this topic. I had been wanting to do a video about this for a while, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to get it going and I'm going to have content around it and really just really go deep in speaking about it. So I'm really excited about it. I am opening up a note taker so that I can have this content available afterwards. I'm super excited about it. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. We are talking today about the prideful entrepreneur, right? When we think of pride, we think a lot of times about feeling really good about something, about having, the pride of ownership. But the Bible talks a lot about pride. And I wanted to talk about this specifically as it relates to coaching, entrepreneurship, and asking for help, because again, that's my lane. I'm Shizette Cowan. If you've never seen me before, I am a real estate coach, but my business brand is the CEO of real estate. It's teaching people how to not just sell real estate, but helping people understand how to own every part of their business, right? How to be the true CEOs of their business, meaning they're managing the financial part, the social media part. They're not just doing the sales part. That's one part of the business. When you're a CEO, you have to look at every part. So when I'm looking at businesses and when I'm working with clients, I try to be very objective and I really want to see them as God sees them, right? That's really, to me, good coaching is looking at them and seeing them through the eyes of how God sees them. So when I look up, how does God want us to be successful? It's not through pride. When I think about myself being an entrepreneur, I think that I'm so excited that God called me to entrepreneurship, because I feel like this is one area in my life where I cannot be prideful, because I'm constantly learning, constantly in search of new information, constantly working to become, grow, be, do better, etc. So I wanted to talk a little bit about pride. I coach a lot of people. I have maybe 100 coaching clients collectively. Some are in group coaching, maybe about 10 individual coaching clients. And I noticed that when I'm working with high performers, that they leave their pride at the door. And here's what I mean by pride. And my girlfriend is going to come help us understand a little bit about some of these things and how they get in front of your sales skills. But pride is stopping a lot of clients from moving forward. And let me explain to you what pride looks like as an entrepreneur. So the Bible in Matthew 7:8, and I'm always going to bring the Bible into my coaching because I believe that this is the foundation for real truth, lasting and abiding truth, and that in order for us to really grow, we have to have this. So it says, and this is Matthew 7:8, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open. I believe this is God's way of keeping us humble. Instead of beckoning people to us, it requires us to bend to them first. And here's what I mean by that. I'm always on guard for how secular humanism comes in and replaces the things that God says, right? So as a coach, I hear a lot of people say, well, I didn't want to ask because you're busy. I didn't know if I could ask because I know you don't have time. Well, a lot of that, the thought process behind that is pride. And I'll tell you why. If God is telling you, and I'm using him as an example, he knows everything about you, who you are, what you want, your heart's desires, and yet his command to you is ask and you shall receive. If that's how he wants you to interact with him, how do you think he wants you to interact with people? And I'm saying that because when people say to me, I didn't want to ask because you're busy, that's a cop out. What it is you just didn't want to ask because it could be a various number of reasons. I'm never going to assume, but I know that in order for me to have something from God, I've got to ask for it. That's what prayer is. It's asking. So if that being said, if I'm working with a mere mortal, a man, a woman, I should expect to ask the same way. Here's the thing, secular humanism, I'm always on guard for that, right? Secular humanism goes against everything that God says. It does not do things the Bible's way. It wants to do things its own way because that's what pride is. Pride doesn't want to hear an alternative. Pride wants what it wants, how it wants it. It's all concerned about self-preservation. And here's what secular humanism says. They know you need help. They didn't ask. They don't care. If they wanted to help, they would. All of this is outward, external focus and never inward focus, right? God is never going to deal with you, your business, your life, your career, and deal with external things. It's always going to be you and God. When I'm dealing with coaching clients, I always want to, especially my one-on-one coaching clients, get to the root of their thinking. Because here's the thing. People want to help you, but nobody can help you if you don't ask. If you just make the assumption that people are busy, then you're going to go through life and everybody's going to be busy because I don't know anybody that just sits around and does anything. I don't. Even when I'm in my office, I'm not if I'm not busy, I'm home. If I'm here working. I'm never going to be hopefully you're never going to be at the office just chilling. I want to chill with my family. I'm here to accomplish goals, right? With that being said, here's the pride of it all. If you don't ask for help and you say, "Well, I didn't ask because they're busy," when you don't succeed, because people that won't ask for help typically don't succeed, or it takes them longer or it's harder to succeed, you're going to say, "Well, I didn't succeed because Coach Williams didn't help me. Coach Brian didn't help me. Coach Chizette didn't help me." And it's easier to blame them than to say, "I didn't own my stuff," right? Because at the end of the day, what you want, you have to go after. If you're that passionate about it, you have to speak. So here's the thing. All of this is outward, not inward focus, and it gives you negative feelings, i.e. a negative emotional state. So much so that anytime someone reaches out and says, "I can help," it makes you feel a type of way because you've been meditating on the negative behavior for so long. So many times we have these stories in our head and we have got to really get hold of those stories. Pride tells you a story about people that half of the time is not true. They don't want to help. They do want to help. They just need you to spell out clearly what that help is and be open to help the way they offer it. See, pride says, "I need it this way. And if I don't get it this way, I don't want it. It doesn't work." Humility says, "I need help and I'll take what's given to me, even if I have to piece it together, because I know that God is faithful and I'm going to get everything I need." So here's where this thought comes from. The prodigal son, if you remember the story, and I'm just going to go through it, but I'm going to say that asking is a sign of humility. Not asking is a sign of pride. I am working with my daughters. Everything you want, I need you to ask for. You can't assume that people know what you want. You can't assume that they know how to help you. You can't assume that they're going to help you the way you want to be helped. You have to ask and then be open to however God lays it out. But if you remember the prodigal son, he had he was a king's kid. He had everything he needed. And then he went, out into the, world and spent all his money, did all the stuff. And then he came home. And the son that was there said, "Hey, you killed a fat calf for him. You gave a ring. You put a coat on his back. I've been here the whole time working and you haven't done that for me." And you know what the father said to his son? "You have access to everything I have access to. All you had to do was ask." How many of us are not getting where we want to be in life because we're not asking? See, your pride won't let you win. And the Bible says that pride comes before a fall. It won't let you win because it's never going to let you be humble enough to want to ask for what you need, humble enough to trust that what you're getting is what God wants you to have. See, humility means that if I ask you a question, the answer that you give me, I'm humble enough to know that that might be the answer God wants you to give me. I'm not in my feelings like, "Oh my God, that I wanted you to sit down with me one on one to go over this." Did it? No. If you need to do it in a group setting and you as my coach feel like that's the most appropriate thing, then that's the setting I'm going to go for. I trust that there's something in that setting that God wants me to experience. Maybe I'm getting the answer and somebody else is getting the answer that's going to change their life. And I was the catalyst to that person getting their answer. You don't know how God is working. This is why humility to God, not people. I'm not talking about humility to people. Who cares what you look like in the eyes of people? I'm going to talk about that too. But where God is concerned, Where's the humility where God is concerned, understanding that you don't know everything? Your thoughts are not his thoughts. Your ways are not his ways. His are higher. How about we just be open to asking for what we want and then be open to where God leads us? So here, asking is a sign of humility, but being able to wait is a sign of faith and emotional intelligence. I had a disagreement yesterday with a child. I'm not even going to call this disagreement, just a tiff. And I asked her, I said, can you wait 1 minute? And she went off the rails. And she was like, ah. And I'm like, how many adults do that? We're whole grown adults, especially in an environment where you're learning. And as adult learning, I'm talking about we're in coaching environments, especially. Your coach is probably seeing other people, running appointments. If they say, hey, I can get you that information this afternoon, the appropriate response is, thank you. Not, you're not available right now. I have people in front of me right now, but I'd love to help you. I'm honored to help you. In fact, I'm blessed to be able to help you. I want to help you. But here's the thing. Emotional intelligence is what adults do, and it's a sign of faith because you understand that there's no emergencies in real estate. There's no emergencies in life. People make things emergent, right? But you have to understand that someone's willingness to help should not be measured by their willingness to help you right now. I'm trying to help y'all out because I know a lot of people come to me on the back end, and I'm going to talk about that too because I got to get into that. So, as a culture, we don't want to wait for anything. This is creeping into our business and killing our ability to get to the money. If you coaching with me, I need my clients to baseline 6 figures. And I'm not talking about low 6 figures, 100. I mean, you need to be baseline at 150 if you working with me, because that's where we at, right? And I'm saying that if you can't exercise emotional intelligence and wait 2 hours for a response, then it's going to be hard for you to really move forward in business because a lot of elements of business are waiting. And when I say waiting, you're waiting for systems to come to pass, for things to materialize. It takes time. Nothing happens overnight. And patience is truly a virtue. So here's the other thing. We talked about as a culture, we don't want to wait for anything. Here's the other thing. Group versus one-on-one dynamic. Anytime I'm doing anything huge, I always want to do it in groups. And I've always been like that. And I couldn't really figure out why. But as I was studying for this live, I said, you know what? What is it? Why do everybody feel like they need one-on-one? And then God said, it's pride. Here's what pride does. Pride doesn't want to be open. It doesn't want anybody to know what's going on. It will sit in a learning environment and not ask questions and wait till the learning has ended to say, can I get in over here and ask you a private question? All because you don't want to feel like you don't know. You don't want people to look at you a certain way. People bondage is the highest and strongest form of pride. And that is something, if you are struggling with it, you need to be delivered from it before you can make money. You will not make money if you are in people bondage. I repeat that. You will not make money if you are in people bondage. If everything that you do has to be private to the booth in the back in the corner in the dark where nobody can see, you will not be profitable. You are not a private salesperson. You are a public agent. You're not a secret agent. You're not a secret entrepreneur. But pride will tell you, oh, I don't want to talk to anybody while anybody's looking. See, humility says, I just want the results. I don't care who sees it. And here's the thing. All of these, and I'm just reading from my notes at this point, are justification to validate a mindset that many of us are struggling with anyway, that we're not worthy, that we're not worthy of our dreams, goals, and aspiration. And here's the thing. And instead of just saying that, owning that so we can get on the other side of that, we use all of these smoke screens. And here's the thing about pride. It hides where nobody goes. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start calling that out. I'm going to start making people commit to being a part of a group. The group environment is the best environment for learning as a new agent. And I'm just talking from agents because those are most of my coaching clients are real estate agents. They're not all real estate agents, but most of them are. As a real estate agent, a group environment is the best environment for you because there's synergy. There's things that are going to come up in a group environment that don't come up in one-on-one. But don't let your pride count you out and tell you that you're special and that you got to have everything custom made one-to-one. And here's the thing, you can pay for that. One-to-one coaching is a lot more expensive than group coaching. But here's the other thing, you're not going to learn as much because you don't have the synergy from the group. So here's what we want to say. We want to examine ourselves at all time. Your goals are personal, and whether you achieve them or not are personal, and it will only be due to personal reasons that you achieve or don't achieve them. It never revolves around anybody else. But here's the thing: if you're not humble, you won't even show up because you won't see the value in being a part of a group. I greatly value being a part of a group. My life hinges on the relationships around me. If you know anything about the redwood trees, do you know the redwood trees? They lock roots and one could die and it can come back to life because it's interlocked with the roots of other trees. If you're not interlocked with people that care for you, that can take care of you, that can see about you when things are not going right, you're not going to win. This is an element of strategy. If you ever look at strategy, you have to know what your opportunities are, your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your resources are, who your team is. You have to know that in order to win. So here's the thing: people have to be delivered from pride before they can win in entrepreneurship. So when I do my private cohort groups, it's just faith based, it's just word based. Because if we're dealing with the business side, but never dealing with the spiritual piece that goes attached and deeper than that, we'll never get to the results. So here's the thing: pride is silent. I need you to hear that. We look at people that are quote unquote maybe boisterous or flamboyant and we say they're prideful. No, pride is often silent. You don't see it. That's why it's deadly, because it can go under the radar for so freaking long. Because here's the thing about somebody that's flamboyant or not that flamboyant is not the word I'm looking for. That's public with their affirmations or public with, they can be corrected because they're not doing it in secret. See, prideful people don't even open their mouth. You don't even know what they're thinking until it's too late. That's why it's deadly. It's deadly and it will hinder you from getting to the money. My coaching clients, we all have to deal with pride. Pride asks for things in secret. It waits till no one is looking. And it waits for the conditions to be favorable because it doesn't want to change. See, when you really want to change, the conditions don't matter. I'm not looking for the conditions to be favorable because I want to change anyway. I want to grow. I want to be better. I want to be a better version of myself. I realize that the version of Cheezette that I am now is not the version of Cheezette that's going to get to the billions. We already at the million level. We need to get to the billion level. But that version of Cheezette still has to be created. I'm still developing her. I'm still working through my things so that I can become her. Now you have to ask yourself, what are you working through where pride is concerned? Here's the other part to that. The last part is you got to be delivered from people. People bondage is the strongest form of pride because you actually think you have a reputation before people and you care more about that than actually getting help and moving forward. Just think about that. God could be leading you to ask a question in front of a group, and because you care about what the group thinks more than you care about purpose, you won't ask. You won't do what God has called you to do because you don't want to appear a certain way before men. But here's what you got to know. When it comes to moving your business forward, you're more focused on anything other than who God called you to be, the purpose attached and the assignment attached to what you're supposed to be doing, you will fail. I'm going to challenge the introverts. And I'm not trying to make you extroverted. I'm challenging the pride in a lot of the behaviors that introverts have. And my girlfriend, I'm going to tag her in this, Deanne with Pink Leaf Consulting. She does coaching for introverts. But we talked a lot about how a lot of it is just pride. You don't want to appear a certain way. You don't want to seem wrong, but you're so consumed with yourself. And then somebody will see somebody like me and say, well, she's very prideful. I very rarely think about myself. I'm always thinking about other people. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what I sound like. If you know me personally, you know that I make a lot of bad judgment calls and I am highly offensive probably 90% of the time. And I'm okay with that. I'm open to correction. I'm growing. But I'm real. And I'm not going to be quiet and private about my growth, my struggles, the things that I'm overcoming. I'm a whole human being out this piece. I don't care what people think. I never have because I'm so consumed with what God thinks about me. So here's my challenge to you. If you are an introvert, stop asking for help in private. If God says that you have to make your request known, make your request known. Exercise emotional intelligence and be willing to wait for a response. That's a level of growth for you. And I'm saying that because I just seem to attract a lot of introverts. So that's why I'm partnering with Deanne to do this training for introverts. But I'm excited to just open up this topic, and I'm going to talk more about it. And if you guys have specific questions that you'd like me to cover, please do ask me. And I'm saying this because I really, really want to see if you're an entrepreneur, you get to the next level in your business. I really do want to see that. And if I can help in any way, definitely look me up. My name is Cheese at Cowan. And thank you guys for hopping on. This was just something that was really, really in my heart. I really, really wanted to share. And I'm excited that I get to partner with you guys, my coaching clients. Thank you for allowing me to grow and be your coach. And thank you guys for hopping on. This has been really awesome. So looking forward to meeting more of you personally one day soon. Thank you.